Looking at this matchup that we have here, syempre, we're gonna focus on what happened to the TNT Tropang Giga. And it felt like they came out of, especially that halftime break, with something to prove. Kasi that last minute or so of the third quarter was something special for TNT. What went right for them?
And it's extremely special because they didn't have Jayson Castro at
Yeah.
that point. So when you lose a star player of Jason's caliber, it's either you crumble or you play better. In the case of TNT, they have a lot of championship experience. They put it all together. Suddenly, the veterans wanted to probably win it for Jayson, Kelly Williams, Eram, of course, Arar Pugoy, and they just came together.
Yeah.
And then they played flawlessly until that third quarter and the fourth quarter.
Right. Speaking of other veteran players, you mentioned Kelly Williams and his astonishing performance. What can you say about this 40-year-old player coming back from retirement?
He's unbelievable. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't there. Not playing basketball anymore. He came back, won a title for TNT. Now he's doing it again. And what's more expensive, he's doing it against Junmar Fajardo.
Yeah.
It's very important for the big men of the opposing team to score when you're playing against Junmar. And Kelly and Poyeram, they're doing it. And that's why TNT is ahead in this series because Junmar is having a hard time defending. Am I going to defend the penetration or am I going to defend the three-point shot of Kelly?
Yeah.
If Kelly will hit 4 threes again in game 6, then problema to the San Miguel.
Fun fact to everyone out there who's wondering what Kelly Williams is doing in retirement. Sabi niya, he was eating chips when Coach Chot called and asked him to come back. He was sitting in front of the TV eating chips. And now he is out there hitting daggers in the PBA Finals. When you look at Kelly Williams, he has been the guy who has almost found a way to have a single coverage against a Junmar Fajardo with all his early work. Just how important will he be going to Game 6, knowing especially that they're probably going to have to turn to Junmar Fajardo more.
Extremely important on both ends. Defensively, you're right. He's the only one. He's the best guy, maybe in the whole league.
Yeah.
Maybe except for a Slaughter when he was still there
Stan
to
Hardinger
defend,
maybe,
or Stan
yeah.
Hardinger to defend Fajardo one-on-one. And then more importantly in the offensive end, if you notice the last 2 minutes of that Game 5, Junmar double-teamed Arar Pugoy.
Yes, he did.
That led to a Poyeram dunk off an assist by Kelly Williams.
Yeah.
And then the next play,
That play right there we're showing.
that play. And then the next play, Kib Montalvo, I don't know. I think it was wrong defense on the part of San Miguel, but Kib Montalvo penetrated, helped defense coming from Fajardo, kick out to Kelly, and Kelly hit a big three. Important also for him to make Fajardo pay when he makes those defensive mistakes. That's how important Kelly will be.
You know, credit also, by the way, to our producer, Rain Tixon, who timed that perfectly, by the way, as Coach Mark was telling us the story there. But, Pauline, you want to talk about San Miguel?
Yes, Sir Mark, let's shift to the loss of San Miguel. What can you say went wrong for them?
Number one, it's hard to win if CJ Perez will struggle offensively.
Yeah.
He had like 10 points, and then the last 2 games, he scored double figures, but that's not the CJ Perez that is needed by San Miguel to win. He needs to be a consistent second option on the offensive end. Sometimes he can be the first option as well, but CJ has struggled so far the last couple of games, and that's why they lost. I don't see San Miguel extending this to Game 7 if CJ Perez will have an average game.
Yeah. Of course, another key part of it is yung not just CJ Perez, but then the pieces around Junmar. So you have to look at Jericho Cruz, you have to look at the Marshall Lassiter. When you look at their performances here right now, since it's, we mentioned, inconsistent, is it due to what TNT is doing, or is it due to them just not being able to hit the shots that they normally do?
They have not been consistent. In fact, they're alternating.
Yeah.
Lassiter will play. When Lassiter plays well, Cruz doesn't play well. When
Yeah.
Cruz plays well, si Lassiter naman yung hindi. Every time, both of them score in double figures. They did it in Game 2, they did it in Game 3, and that meant San Miguel won that game.
So for Game 6, what do you think Coach Leo should make? These adjustments, what adjustments should he make?
San Miguel is the best offensive team in this league. Game 4 and Game 5, they didn't go over 100. The 2 games that they won, they went over 100. That's the key for San Miguel. If Talk and Text can limit them on the offensive end, game over.
Yeah.
They have to score over 100. They have to have help for Junmar, CJ, Lassiter, Cruz. Of course, actually the bigs are consistent. Tautua and Vic Manuel, they need to put points on the board because if it becomes a low-scoring game again, it's going to be TNT's advantage.
If Jayson Castro does not play in the next game, just how much of a headache would that be for Coach Chota? Again, considering that Jayson, not necessarily the starter that he needed to be before he is off the bench, but then he has had such clutch performances here in the series so
It's
far.
going to be different because this time, San Miguel will be prepared for them without Jayson Castro.
Yeah.
It's different when you lose him in the middle of a game. Sometimes the other team cannot make the adjustment yet. And then, of course, yung ginanahan yung other teammates niya. But this time, if Jayson doesn't play Game 6, big problem for Coach Chota Reyes. I will be surprised if they beat San Miguel in Game 6 without Jayson.